Well, hello, Seacoast family. Can I invite you to stand to your feet and let's lift up praise and worship to a God who deserves it. Can you clap your hands? Come on. We serve a God who's bigger and stronger than anything. Let's worship him for it. Here we go. I'm marching to battle, no doubt in my mind that my God is with me and victory is mine. I dance in the shadows of my enemies, 'cause God is my champion and he fights for me. Oh, God is my champion and he fights for me. Here we go. Bigger the battle, greater my faith. There is no giant you cannot slay, 'cause you're stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger than 10. Lift it up, say, whoa, oh, oh, say, whoa, oh, oh. It says no weapon against me will prosper or stand, 'cause I've got a promise from the Son of Man. So I throw off this heart and raise up my hand. We say, I know my God and I know who I am. Oh, I know my God and I know. Here we go. Say bigger, bigger the battle, greater my faith. There is no giant you cannot slay, 'cause you're stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger than 10,000. Bigger the battle, say. Bigger the battle, greater my faith. There is no giant you cannot slay, 'cause you're stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger than 10. Can you say, whoa, oh, oh, say, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, oh, whoa, oh, so whoa, oh, oh, so whoa, oh, oh. Come on, everybody, hands up, come on. That's it, come on. We lift this song up to encourage us and remind us that if God be for us, then there is nothing and no one that can stand against his word and his promise. So we stand on it and say this, I'm not afraid. Sing it with us, here we go. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. Tell every giant, get out my way. Get out my way. We say, I'm not afraid, no, no, I'm not afraid. Tell every giant, get out my way. We say, I'm not afraid, no, no, I'm not afraid. Tell every giant, get out my way. 'Cause our God is greater, see our God is stronger. So tell every giant, get out my way. This is all you, bigger, bigger the battle, greater my faith. There is no giant you cannot slay, 'cause you're stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger than 10,000. Bigger the battle, say, bigger the battle, greater my faith. There is no giant you cannot slay, 'cause you're stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger than 10,000. Our God is stronger than 10,000. Stronger than 10,000 armies. You're stronger. Last time, say, whoa, oh, oh, say. Whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh. So, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh. So, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh. Last time, say, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh.
All right, come on, let's keep those hands clapping as we worship our God this morning. Here we go. I saw Satan fall like lightning. I saw darkness run for cover. But the miracle that I just can't get over is my name is registered in heaven. Yeah. I believe in signs and wonders. I have resurrection power. But still the miracle that I just can't get over is my name is registered in heaven. Yes, it is, and my praise belongs to you forever. Anybody got a testimony? Come on. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story, and I'll testify by Jesus. the praises of the Spirit, Son, and Father. Our God will finish what He started every time. Yes, our God will finish what He started. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify by Jesus Christ the righteous. I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. You know, if I'm still breathing, I'm still here. God's not done with me yet. He's not done with you yet. Come on. If I'm not dead, you're not done, no. 'Cause greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done, no, no, no. 'Cause greater things are still to come. Do you believe that? Come on. If I'm not dead, you're not done, and He's not done, and He's not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done, no. 'Cause greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. My best days are up ahead of me. 'Cause this is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story, and I'll testify by Jesus Christ the righteous. I'm justified. This is my testimony. Oh, I'm alive. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story, and I'll testify by Jesus Christ the righteous. I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. I've got a reason to sing it. If I'm not dead, you're not done with me. You're not done with me, no.
You're not done yet. You are worthy of every song we could ever sing. You are worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. You're worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. You are Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. You are worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. So we sing holy, holy. There is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. And lead us, Lord, yes. You are worthy, worthy of every song we could ever sing. Yes, you are worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. We cry out, worthy, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. The name above all names is Jesus, the name above every other name. He's the only one. Jesus, the only one who could have. So we cry out, worthy, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, oh, we live for you. Our hearts cry, holy, yes, holy. There is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Yes. Lead and guide us, Lord, step by step. Build us in your love, Lord, and I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken.
What a God, what a God.
always be. So if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. 'Cause your love has changed my life. I'm forever satisfied. God, you are my everything. So if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. Your love has changed my life. Forever satisfied. God, you are my end. And so with one word is the only thing, then speak, Lord, then I've heard it all. If I feel your heart and never see your hand, I still have it all. There's no treasure of this life could ever satisfy. God, you are my end. Oh yes, God, you are my end. Yes, God, you are my end. Wanna go, wanna go. There's nobody like you. Wanna go, wanna go. There is no one beside you. Wanna go, wanna go. Angels bow before, heaven and earth adore. So if the highest place I reach is at your feet, then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. Your love has changed my life. Forever satisfied. God, you are my end. So if one word is the only thing you speak, then I've heard it all. If I feel your heart and never see your end, I still have it all. No treasure of this life could ever satisfy. God, you are my end. Yes, God, you are my end. You are Alpha and Omega. You are my end. So if the highest place I reach is at your feet,
Sing it out.
then I've done it all. If the best thing that I've seen is your glory, then I've seen it all. 'Cause your love has changed my life. Forever satisfied. God, you are my end. So if one word
is the only thing you speak,
then I've heard it all.
if I
Feel your heart and never see your hand, I still have it all. There's no treasure of this life could ever satisfy. God, you are my end. Yes, God, you are my end. Nothing compares to you, 'cause you are my everything. Yeah. Let's approach the throne together, church. Father, we stand here in unity saying that nothing compares to you, that when you show up in our lives, things are different, Lord. Circumstances change just at the name, at the mention of your name, Lord. We need a word from you, Lord. More importantly, we need the one name that can change everything to show up and show out in this place, Lord. So speak through the word that you've provided this morning. Give us fresh ears to hear. Give us eyes to see. Give us a heart to feel. Lord, we ask that whatever you have to say, may we be receptive to it. May you have your way in this place. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated.
All right, well, good morning. You guys doing all right this morning? All right. Well, if you're new here, I want to give you a special shout out. Thanks for being here this morning. A couple quick things you need to know about is worship night is taking place this Thursday right in this room. And so if you're a part of the Jesus Changed Everything community life groups, instead of meeting, we're going to be having at 7 o'clock, we're going to have worship in here, but everybody is invited. So whether you're a part of that program or not, you can be here. You can come worship with us. Mark Gutierrez, who you've probably seen here before, he's going to come and be one of our special guest worship leaders. And there's going to be childcare for the little ones, but the rest of the kids are invited to come in here and worship along with us. And so that's 7 o'clock right here this Thursday. Also, Trunk or Treat is coming up. That's going to be October 31st. Starts at 5, ends at 8. And so hopefully you've gotten all signed up. We need lots of volunteers for that. We got all of our trunks, the candy, all that. Now you just need to show up and bring some kids with you because we're going to have a lot of fun. It's a safe place for you to be able to do Halloween and hopefully bring some people from the community in and get to know us a little bit more. And then Donuts with Doyle. Now, this is on November 9th, and that is not the only time that Doyle has donuts, of course, but you can have them with him on the 9th. So if you're brand new to the church and you just want to get to know some of the staff and hear a little bit about our story, maybe even ask some questions, figure out how you can get plugged in, that's going to be Donuts with Doyle on November 9th. All right. So this last month, in September and October, there's 5 of us in my family, and 4 of us have birthdays. And so for our birthdays, everybody gets to do something different, but we all do a big family dinner. And usually we do a big family dinner at my parents' house. And if you don't know this, fun fact is, I don't know why, but I decided to move my parents across the street from me, thinking it was going to be childcare for free. I was incorrect, but they still live across the street, so we get to do a lot of family dinners. And we get together around a big table, a table much bigger than this, and everybody comes and we celebrate. And we don't just celebrate birthdays, we do it in different holidays and things like that. And the table, the one that I grew up around, was only 4 seats because it was just me and my sister and then my parents. But as I've gotten married and my sister's gotten married and then we've had kids, now we've grown to, there's 11 seats at the table. And so it's pretty fun. If you ever show up to one of our dinners, you will see that there's different seats, and each seat represents a different role, a different responsibility, that you don't get to just pick your seat, that you have to earn your seat at the table. And so there's different spots here. And so like start with the high chair. The high chair is the one that every kid has to go through. Is when you're little, you have to sit in the high chair. And usually mom sits right next to the high chair and usually, can help baby out. And as you grow up, you eventually graduate from the high chair to, we do have a bench, and you'll probably be at the bench. You'll be sandwiched in between a couple of adults, but you'll be at the bench. And then as you get a little bit older, you'll make your way over to this side of the table, and you're going to get your own seat. And you're still going to be between some adults, but you're going to be in your own chair. And then it's taken me about 40 years, but I finally get to sit in this seat. My dad still sits in that one, but I finally got to sit in this one. I had to have a couple kids, but I finally got to sit in this seat. And then right here is the guest seat. Is if there's somebody who's visiting from out of town or somebody who's been invited to celebrate a birthday, this is usually where they're going to sit. Is they get to be away from the little ones, and they get to be more towards this end of the table. And what I realized a few years ago, and I talked about this, is this table, it's a lot like the church. The church is the place in which the family of God, they gather together, and they are actually going to be fed spiritually. Because if you remember, Jesus said that he is the bread of life, that he has this living water. And so we come together in community, and that's how we are fulfilled. That's how we get our nourishment spiritually, is we come to the table. And the seats around the table there's a seat for everybody, but not everybody gets to sit in every single seat. It depends on your maturity level, your roles and responsibilities, and everybody gets to come, but not everybody gets to sit in every single seat. And so what I want to do today is I want to talk about the different seats at the table, and I want you to do your best to try to recognize what seat you're currently sitting in. So let's start with this one, the guest seat. The guest seat is the place in which, of course, guests come. I remember when Amy and I, we were dating, this is over 20 years ago now, and I got invited to her family's Sunday night dinner. And they would do Sunday night dinner pretty much every Sunday. Sometimes it would be to celebrate, sometimes just because. And she has a big family. There's 5 kids, and then they would bring, one of them was already married, and they bring the grandkids. I mean, it was just chaos. I remember walking in, I was 20 years old, she's 18, and I'm sitting down at this table, and it's scary. it's a little bit intimidating. And her dad's a big dude, and he's just outgoing, and it's, oh my goodness. And so I made it through dinner, and afterward I called her and I said, I don't think I can do this. What are you talking about? I said, I don't think I'm ready for family dinners yet. Because in my family, there was only 4 of us, and nobody came as a guest, or at least not very often, because we were kind of private. And so if somebody were to come over, especially somebody that you were dating, it means, well, we're getting engaged soon. We're probably going to get married, because that's the only reason that you would come to family dinner. And she laughed, and she said, look, you're not that special. It's not that big of a deal. We have an open door policy at my house. Everybody is welcome. And her dad's a pastor. And like I said, he's super outgoing and an extrovert. And so you could show up at his church, and if he gets to meet you afterward, he'll invite you over to their house for Sunday afternoon supper. And so there was always, and I did realize as I spent more time with her and over the last couple of decades, it's true. I mean, there's just constantly guests at the table. And sometimes there's not even enough seats, so that it pours out into the living room. And there's just always people who are welcome through at the dinner table. And that's the kind of church I hope that we are. As I hope we're the kind of church that provides seats for guests, anybody who wants to show up. Is maybe you were invited, and you're like, okay, I'll try this church thing out. And maybe it's because you're spiritually hungry. Like you have seen all the things that the world has to offer, and it's not very satisfying. And you're feeling unfulfilled, and so you're looking for something, and so maybe you showed up here. And one of the things that we strive to do is we want to provide a seat for every guest. And not just physically provide, but like we want you to come here and go, this is a good place to be. Even if you don't believe what we believe, and even if you're not even sure any of this stuff is legit, we just hope that you come here and you go, I like this place. I like these people. They've provided for me a seat at the table. And we're not going to ask anything from you. If you're a guest here, we're not going to ask for your money. We're not going to ask for your time. We're not going to ask for anything. All we're going to ask is just keep showing up. Just keep coming. If you've just started coming, here's the thing I would recommend is just try to come 4 weeks in a row and see what happens. Just see if you learn something at the end of the 4 weeks. See if anything begins to change. Because here's what we know, is we know that all of us, that we are empty, that we are spiritually hungry, that we're looking for some sort of satisfaction. And no matter what is offered out there, there's only one thing that can satisfy, a relationship with God. And so what Jesus did is he provided for us a way to be reconciled with our Heavenly Father, and it gives us a seat at the table with him. And so our hope ultimately is that you would come to know Jesus. We're not going to make that a secret. We're not trying to, that is our hope. That is our prayer, is that eventually you come to know Jesus. But you can be a guest at our table for as long as you want. I have a great grandfather. It took him about 30 years for him to finally decide, I think I want a relationship with Jesus. And he sat as a guest at that table. And so we're happy to have you. We love having guests at the table. But here's something that I think is a warning. Is a lot of you, you know that you're a guest, and that's great. But some of you, you're a guest and you don't know it. Meaning, you think that you're sitting in one of the family seats, but you're actually still sitting in the guest seat. So let me be really honest with you. Let's say that you show up once a month for family dinner. Would that make you a family member? At best, an estranged family member, but probably just a guest. Because on all the other weekends, you're sitting in a different seat. You're sitting in the front seat of your car because you're traveling. You're sitting on the bleachers watching your kids' games. You're sitting on the sofa relaxing. You're sitting in other seats. You're not at the table with the family. And so my encouragement would be is if you think that you're sitting in this seat, or you're sitting in another seat, but you're sitting in this seat, is just come in with your eyes wide open. One of Jesus' disciples, John, he wrote different parts of the Bible, and he wrote a letter, and in it is 1 John in the 2nd chapter, and he addresses different maturity levels of believers. He calls them children, young men, and fathers. And so I kind of want to go with those as categories for our discussion today. I want to talk about there's probably 3 different levels of maturity sitting at the table. You've got children, you've got adolescents, and then you've got adults. And so let's start with the person in the high chair. This is the kids. And the kid is everybody has to go through that seat. Everybody at some point is a baby believer, because in the scriptures it tells us when we give our lives over to Jesus and we are forgiven, we are made new. We're a new creation, meaning we're a new person. We're a baby believer. And so everybody starts in that seat. And you know what the responsibility of is the person who's sitting in the high chair? Grow and mature. That's it. We don't expect it really a whole lot from you. You're brand new to this whole deal. All we want for you to do is to grow in your relationship with Jesus. And so there's different ways that you can do that. You show up here on the weekends, you get into a community life group, you get baptized, you start reading the scriptures, and you will begin to grow because that seat is a very temporary stay. You don't want to sit in that seat for very long. In fact, most people who are in that seat, little kids, they want to get out of that seat. Because it's fun, initially it's great, you have a seat at the table, but you're ready to mature, you're ready to grow. And that's what being a Christian is, by the way. Being a Christian, the goal of being a Christian is maturity. I follow Jesus and I want to become more like him. And so my goal is to continue the process of maturing and becoming more like Jesus. Here's what the author of Hebrews says. We have much to say about this, but it is hard to make it clear to you because you no longer try to understand. In fact, though by this time you ought to be teachers, you need someone to teach you the elementary truths of God's word all over again. You need milk, not solid food. Anyone who lives on milk, being still an infant, is not acquainted with the teaching about righteousness. But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. And so here's what he's saying. Everybody starts there. You're going to be brand new to the faith. The problem is people stay there. And they should be maturing, but they're not maturing. They're still doing the basics, and they're still struggling at those things. I read an author who's also a pastor, and he said one of his members shared with him, said, I was a Christian for 22 years, but instead of being a 22-year-old Christian, I was a 1-year-old Christian 22 times. I just kept doing the same things over and over and over again. And so here's what that looks like. Is you should be an adult, but you're still acting like a child. And so imagine that you have a person who is an adult and is in a onesie pajamas, still has their binky, and is still sitting in a high chair. Well, that's sort of the image that comes to mind when there's someone who says that they've been a follower of Jesus for a long time, but is still immature in their faith. Psychologists call people who refuse to grow up that should become adults but aren't, they call it Peter Pan syndrome. Is they're emotionally and relationally still immature. They're still kids. We used to call them kidults. It's like you're supposed to be an adult, but you're still acting like a kid. You're a kidult. And I think that's true spiritually, is we are supposed to be mature. We've said that we've followed Jesus for a long time now, and yet we still haven't gotten past the basics of the faith. The difficulty is most people who are sitting in that seat, unless you're a brand new believer, most people who are still sitting in that seat, they don't know that they're in that seat. Just like kids think they're way more mature than they really are. I can do it on my own. I don't need your help. Yes, you do. You're still immature. And so it's hard to see the immaturity in ourselves. And so let me give you just a couple questions that you can see if you're still sitting in that seat, even though you probably shouldn't be. Questions like, are you contributing more than you're consuming? In that seat, that is all consuming. They give nothing back. And so when you look at what you do with your time and your energy and your money, how much of it is used for consuming versus contributing? Are you plugged into a ministry somewhere? Are you giving back? Are you part of a group? Are you giving and supporting financially? Because if the answer to all of those things is a no, unless you're still a guest or you're brand new to the faith, it might be an indication that you're still in the high chair. Or here's another question. Can you feed yourself? Because the youngest versions that sit in that seat, they can't feed themselves. Mom and dad need to feed them. And one of the things that pastors have heard, and every pastor says this, is when somebody comes up and they say, I'm leaving this church because I'm not being fed here. Now, I would never think what they're thinking because I'm a very nice man. I'm a gentle soul. And so I wouldn't tell you they think that you're immature and a child when you say that. I wouldn't say that. I'm much too nice to say that. But that's what they hear is, oh, you can't feed yourself? You know who else can't feed themselves? Babies. And so maybe it's because you're a baby. Again, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Another pastor would say that. Not me. Or do you keep making messes and refuse to take responsibility? I remember when my kids were really little, they started to figure out that if they would throw their food on the floor, that mom and dad would have to pick it up. And so it became a game. They take their food, they throw it, and they just look at me like, so, what are you going to do? And it's because we don't expect them to pick it up. They're too little, and so, okay, I guess we're going to have to clean up this mess. But one of the things that happens as you get more mature is, well, hopefully you stop making as many messes, but the other is you take responsibility for it. One of my favorite sayings I've ever heard is, you become an adult when you stop blaming your parents. And I think the people in that seat, they still blame other people for their lack of spiritual growth. But as you mature, you start to say, no, I'm going to own it. That's mine. Or are you easily upset? Are you emotionally, spiritually unstable? Kids are a roller coaster of emotions. They're crying, they're laughing, they're crying, they're laughing. I mean, it's just all over the map from moment to moment. And Paul says in Ephesians, he says, then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves, and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming. One of the signs that you are becoming a mature believer is that you're not constantly attracted to the next best thing. When I was young, I remember, as a young adult, we would just jump around from church to church because that one has the best music right now, or that one has the teachings, or that one has the cutest girls, or that one has, and we're all over the place and we're looking for the next best thing. Or I see different versions of that as we get older. Well, that church is saying the things that I like that align with me politically, and they're saying the things that I want to hear right now, and that church is not saying those things, and so I'm going to go to this next one. But as mature believers, we end up seeing the different storms, and by the way, the longer you follow Jesus, the more storms you're going to see, and then they just stop freaking you out. You just go, oh yeah, this is another storm. Yeah, I can be calm. I'm pretty collected. It might be a problem. We'll just have to wait and see. Because I'm not constantly reacting all the time, because if I am, it probably means I'm lacking some maturity. Hebrews passage concludes with this, therefore let us move beyond the elementary teachings about Christ and be taken forward to maturity. So what he's saying here is he's saying, don't stay there. That's temporary. That's when you first become a believer. And if you're a baby believer, amazing. We're here to serve you and help you go to that next place. But the goal is not to stay there. The goal is to mature and move to the next seat. So the next seat I would describe as the adolescent seat. And it actually is right here in the middle of the bench at our table, but it can be in different places. And you're usually sandwiched in between a couple of adults. And what is an indicator that you're ready to move to that seat is you can get yourself to the table and you aren't reliant on other people to feed you. And so instead of just being a consumer like you are in the high chair, you're able to start contributing to the table. And they're not big things. They could be pretty small things. It's not doing all the heavy lifting, but you're at least you've got a job and you're starting to give back to the table. And so at our table, what this looks like is when you're little, everybody gets a job. And when you're little, you start with the simplest job. So it would be putting the placemats on the table because you can't break those. So all right, your job is to put the placemats in there. And then it's the silverware, then it's the glass, and then you're eventually going to put the food on there. And then at some point what you're going to do is you're going to help prepare the food, and then everybody, you're responsible for cleaning it up. Because as you mature, you're going to get more and more responsibilities. I think this is important because as you gain more responsibilities, you're going to learn some different things. You're going to learn some things about yourself. Okay, so I know one of my kids, they're really creative, and so this is going to be something that they want to help prepare the meal. Or I know they're really responsible, and so they're going to help this, or they're really... And so what ends up happening is, for example, as the kids get older, if we're going to have a big dinner, they usually go over before, an hour before dinner, and they'll help prepare the meal. Or at least they'll help make dessert. And as they're doing that, and they're helping Nana, they're going to learn some things, not just about cooking, but they're going to learn some things about themselves. They're going to learn some things about Nana and be able to connect with her. They're going to be able to ask some questions that normally they wouldn't be able to ask, and they're going to unlearn some things as well. Hey, we're kind of growing up now. We can't be doing that kid stuff anymore, especially around things that are hot and that we could get hurt. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to level up. And it's an opportunity for someone who is more mature to invest in somebody who is a little bit less. Same thing happens here at church. As you move from being a consumer to contributing, you're going to learn a lot of great things along the way. You're going to learn some things about yourself. You're going to learn some things about God. You're going to have some people that are going to surround you that are a little bit further ahead in the journey. And they're going to help you start to unlearn some of those behaviors and those habits that you've had for a lot of years. They're going to go, hey, you don't have to live like that. Yeah, I remember when I was new to the faith or when I was a little bit younger, these are kind of the things that I struggled with. But here, let me show you a better way forward. One of the most exciting things that's happened in the last season of ministry for me is my oldest, my daughter, she is now hit an age where she's allowed to serve in some of the ministries here. And so last year she decided, because she had hit that age, that she was going to serve with the little kids in the nursery. And so she went and she started serving there. And it has just been so cool watching her, because her maturity level has skyrocketed as she has now gone from just being a consumer to a contributor. Like, she'll come to church, and this morning it was one of those, she's like, I can't be late. You know I've got my class. You know I've got my kids. And then I'll walk around with her, and she'll see one of the little kids running around. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's my teacher. And she's like, there's one of my kids. And it is just so cute, just watching them, and she's just taking responsibility. Because now she arrives here, and she doesn't see as, okay, what am I going to get? She comes here and goes, okay, now what am I going to give? There's going to be time where she consumes. She's got her own ministries, and she's got her groups that she's a part of and all that kind of stuff. But now the maturity level is just is skyrocketing, because now she is beginning to give back. Now, there is a danger in this phase, this adolescent phase. And if you've ever had a child in this life stage, you'll probably be able to guess what it is. This is the time in which you're most likely to abandon the table. You're going to decide, I think I might know better than the adults at the table. You ever been around a teenager before? Oh my goodness. I have one that's not even a teenager yet, but is a contrarian. And every time we begin talking about something that I actually might know a thing or two about, his immediate response is, no, you're wrong. I'll go, oh, you've hit double digits now, so now you know how that dad doesn't know anything. Because that's what happens, is you're just smart enough to know a little bit, but not smart enough to know how much you don't know. And that's what happens in our faith journey. It's a honeymoon phase when we first come to Christ and we're following Him, but eventually we're going to hit those places in which it's costly. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Some of these people, they're not acting a whole lot like Jesus, and so you're going to have to determine, what am I going to do? Am I going to stick with this faith and trust that God knows best? And I'm going to stay in my seat at the table and try to mature past it? Or am I going to push away from the table and say, I don't think you know best. I think I know best. And so I'm going to venture off away from this table and go find something else. Go do something else. Then there's the adults. The rest of the chairs are filled with, hopefully, people that are spiritually mature. And spiritual maturity is not it's not like you one day wake up and you go, oh, wow, I'm mature today. Like, I'm practically Jesus. When people look at me, they confuse me with Jesus because I'm so mature now. No, that doesn't happen. It's kind of like aging. Is one day you wake up and you go, oh, I'm not a young adult anymore. I'm an adult now. And and from then on, you're going to continue to mature, but you eventually hit this place where you go, oh, I'm there. Like, I'm now that age. The same thing happens in your faith, is eventually you're going to hit this place in which you're spiritually mature and will continue to mature for the rest of your life. I think a great picture of what it looks like to be someone who is spiritually mature is somebody who, in our lingo around here, we would say sends it. And it's not just a trendy phrase, it's from the Bible. It says that Jesus was sent here in order to serve, share, and sacrifice. And then us, as His believers, as we mature, we are sent out to do the same thing. And so let's look at those three things real quick. The first one is share. Luke 14, Jesus tells a parable of a man who is throwing this giant party. And he invites tons of people, and as he's preparing and he finally gets everything ready, he sends out one of his men to go and to get these people to the party, to invite them in. And as this guy goes to each of the participants and tells them that it's time to go to the party, each one has a lame excuse. Oh, I'm really sorry I can't come to the party. I've got business to do and things are a little bit crazy. I'm sorry, my schedule is tight. I wish I could make it, but I really can't right now. Sorry, I've got some family things that I need to deal with. And so he goes back to the host of the party and he says, I've gone and I've told everyone and nobody's coming to the party. And so here's the response that Jesus gives. He says, then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. Sir, the servant said, what you ordered has been done, but there is still room. Then the master told his servant, go out to the roads and the country lanes and compel them to come in so that my house will be full. So one of the things that a mature believer does is we don't just come and we're fed and we grow spiritually so that we can go take a nap afterward. We push away and we use that as fuel to go out and invite other people to bring guests to the table. Because remember, everybody in their heart of hearts, they're searching. They're hungry. They're looking for something, and we have the thing that they're looking for. And so we will go and we will invite anyone and everyone to come to the table. You can be a guest here, and I want you to see what we have to offer. And you know what he says here? He says, and you're going to invite people, and they're going to say no. They're going to say, I'm too busy. I've got too much going on in my life. I'm not interested. And he says, that's okay. Go to the next person. Maybe later on they'll come back. But you need to go and then continue to invite until, what does he say? Until his house is full. So that's our job. Our job after we leave here is to push away and then be fueled in ministry to go and to share with other people and bring them into God's house. Also, we're supposed to serve. Growing up, my mom would host these dinner parties for different people at the church, different ministries and things, and I very quickly learned that if there is a dinner party coming up, I need to be invisible for about 3 days before that. Because mom's not very nice when there's going to be a party. There's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of things that are going to need done, and so it's best for you to just stay out of the way. Because she was intense of being, she wanted to make sure that as there was guests in her house, she was a great host, that she served them well, which is exactly what Jesus did. You know, Jesus went to a lot of dinner parties. He even hosted a couple. One that he hosted was called the Last Supper. And here's what it looked like for him to host some of his closest friends. He got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. So just imagine this. I mean, okay, I've gone to some nice dinners before. Nobody has ever offered to wash my feet. I mean, I've met some people who are incredible hosts and they make you feel welcome, but nobody has gone to that extent. And then we not only have Jesus, but we have Jesus who is the king over all creation. He is God in the flesh, and he is kneeling down and serving those people. So what he's doing here is he's redefining what success looks like. Remember, Jesus came and he turns all the values of the world upside down, and he says, look, if you want to be great in the kingdom of God, here's what this is going to look like. And he gives us in Matthew 25:21, he says, at the end of the day, here's how you know you've done what you're supposed to do. When you hear this from your heavenly Father, well done, good and faithful servant. This is so different than what we consider successful. Because if it were according to our standards, what we would hear is, well done, good and successful business person. Well done, good and faithful parent whose kid made the high school team. But that's not what he defines as success. Jesus says you are successful when you are a servant. And they don't have to be these extravagant acts of service. One of the things that I do during my summer break, and I've told you this before, is I take 6 weeks off in the summer as a break and time for me to study and learn and think about the up and coming year. And every weekend during that break, I will go to 3 to 4 different churches because I want to learn. I want to connect with other pastors. I want to see what they're doing, things that we can do better here. And I've always been told, you know, the thing that will determine if a guest is going to stay at your church or not is not what they hear from the stage. It's not the music, it's not the preaching, it's actually going to be the people serving. That's what's going to make or break their experience. And as a pastor, I go, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of a big deal. I mean, it is. No, it's true. It really is true. It's because when I would show up at these churches, before I would even get into the auditorium and hear anything, I would have already decided if this was a church that I could be a part of or not. Purely based on the people whom I met on my way in. From the parking lot to dropping your kids off to greeters at the front door, I could see, do these people really care that I'm here? Are they really excited? Are these people that want to connect with me? Are these the kinds of people that are genuinely excited that I'm coming, that I'm a guest in their house? Because if they're not, I automatically can pick it up just like you can. And you go, man, this probably isn't a place for me. So I want you to imagine for a moment that next weekend, somebody who you know that is far away from God has finally decided that they're going to come to church for the first time. What do you want them to experience? Because believe it or not, in this church, we have the opportunity to have that every single weekend, and it does. Every weekend, people show up here for the first time, and this may be your story, is they have invited their prodigal child who has not been to church since they were a kid, and this weekend they said yes. Or you've got a spouse that has never come to church before, and this is the weekend they said, fine, I'll come with you, we'll see what this is all about. Or you have a new parent, and they're bringing their little one, and they have never entrusted that child to anybody outside their family, and they're going to check them into our child care today. What do you want them to experience? See, I hope that you feel a little bit of pressure. That like this hour and a half that they're here on our campus, that you feel the pressure of making sure it's an incredible experience for them. I feel the pressure. Do you feel the pressure? Because you should. And some of you guys, you do, and you've been doing an incredible job. I mean, there's people all over this campus. You know, it takes hundreds of people every single weekend to be able to just do what we do here. From the parking lots to childcare to the front doors to set up and tear down and all those things. And man, you guys are the ones that make this place what it is. But some of you guys, you've been in the guest seat for a long time. And you don't think that you're in the guest seat. You think you're following Jesus, but you've been in the guest seat for a long time. Because you show up here and you act like a guest. I better say something that's important to me today. Oh, that song. I wouldn't have picked it. Did you see his haircut? It was horrendous. I mean, you're showing up here and you're angry because you got to walk a little bit of ways from your parking spot. And that's okay if you're a guest. We get it. We're trying our best to make sure it's a great experience for you. But if you're not, well, I think it's going to take you're going to have to change your mindset a little bit. Is, oh yeah, I'm showing up here like I'm a guest, but I'm not a guest here. This is part of my family. I'm part of this family here. And so I need to go from being somebody who is a guest to somebody who is a host. When I show up here, I go, okay, how can I make sure that this is a great experience for somebody who maybe is brand new? What do I need to do? And a part of what you need to do is you got to get a job somewhere. You got to get a job. There's tons of different jobs. There's lots of different things that you could be doing. And it could be something simple, like helping people park. I don't know if you know this. Our parking lot's not the greatest around here. A little bit confusing at times. Or maybe you're just putting coffee out. Whatever it is, get a job. Become a host instead of just a guest. The last one is sacrifice. So over the last handful of years, at our dinner table, my kids have been eating a larger and larger portion of the food as they grow. Now, I still am the biggest eater at the table, but they're eating more and more. And so the percentage that they're eating versus what I'm eating, theirs is growing, and I'm trying to decrease mine at least a little bit. But you know what has still remained the same throughout that entire process? I still pay for 100% of it. They have yet to offer to pay for any of it. But that's my responsibility. As an adult, as somebody who is mature, because this is my house, I'm going to pick up the bill. That's just what we do. And you know this to be true. Even if it's not your house and you get invited over to somebody else's house for dinner, what is the first question that you ask? What can I bring? Oh, what can I bring? Because I'm mature, I'm an adult, and so I want to make sure that I bring something. I want to contribute. Or if you're out to dinner, what is like the classic thing at the end of dinner? No, I got this one. No, I got this one. No, you got the last one, or you can get the next one. I've got this one. Because we almost have to fight over who gets to pay. Because why? Well, because I'm mature, I'm an adult. I don't want you to pay for me. I can pay for you and me. And we understand this principle, except for when it comes to church. Some of us have never paid our own way before. We have been expecting somebody else to pay our way the entire time. And again, if you're brand new, if you're a guest, we don't want anything from you. I'm just talking to those of us who say, no, I am a mature or maturing Christian. We've been walking out on the bill for a long time. Like, we haven't contributed at all. We haven't given our time or our money. And here's what Jesus tells us, is money is one of those things that can either stunt or grow your faith. It just depends on what you're going to do. It can either keep you in a seat in the high chair or the guest seat, but in the high chair, or it can help you become a mature believer. And so here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to give you the opportunity to do at least one of these things today. is over the last handful of weeks, we have had hundreds and hundreds of new people, new guests come to our table. And it's incredible, and if you're one of them, we're so glad that you're here. The problem is we haven't had people increase the other seats, meaning we don't have enough people to serve those guests. And so if you're one of those people that's been in a high chair for a long time and it's time for you to step up, we're going to give you that opportunity. It could be anything from a job in the parking lot to helping teach the kids and anything in between. We have hundreds and hundreds of spots available for people to serve. And so we made it really easy, is you can get out your phone. This is one of the few times that you can actually be on your phone in church. And there's going to be a QR code. It's either in the seat back in front of you or the card right here, but it's also going to be up on the screens. And if you'll just follow that and then just sign up and say, okay, here's where some areas that I want to serve. And it doesn't have to be a place that you serve forever. It could just be a place that you're going to say, in this next season, I'm going to give it a shot and I'm going to try out serving here. And we're going to need hundreds and hundreds of you guys to do it. And then once you've done that, in the patio, there's a ministry fair. Go and introduce yourself to a ministry that you're going to be a part of or that you served, and they're going to give you some stuff to take home, introduce. They're going to give you a little sticker that says that you signed up to serve. And then we're going to, for the next season, what we really need is we're going to need a lot of you guys to step up, to move from this high chair to one of the big kid chairs. And so as you do that and you take out your phones, you can take them out right now and you get on there. Nick's going to share one more song with us, and then I'll give you some more instructions.
I read you use loaves and bread, raise the dead with what you said. So I know it's what you do. I've seen you use a man like me to free the slaves and part the sea. So I know that's what you do. You make weak things strong. You give bones their flesh. So I believe you can use me. You make poor men rich. You give dead men bread. So I believe you can use me. Tragedy is all I see, drowning in anxiety. But I'll trust it's in your hand. My pain so really moves my feet. My soul it sings melodies, and I'll trust it's in your hands. You make weak things strong. You give bones their flesh. So I believe you can use me. You make poor men rich. You give dead men breath. So I believe you can use me. Just like Moses, and just like Peter, and just like David, oh, and Elijah, oh, just like my mama, oh, and my father. If you can use them, you can use me. And just like my pastor, a Sunday school teacher, a front door greeter, student leaders, and just like the missionary, down to the one who cleans your sanctuary. If you can use them, you can use me. You make weak things strong. You give bones their flesh. So I believe that you can use me. You make poor men rich. You give dead men bread. So I believe, Lord, you can use me. Lord, I believe that you can use me. Yes, I believe that you can use me.
right, let's stand together. Thank you guys so much for being here this week, and get signed up and then go introduce yourself to one of the ministry leads out there. We'll see you next weekend. God bless.